Ken Jareski, and today we're talking pictures with Srijita Chattopadhyay. She's just graduated with her master's degree from the University of Ohio, and she is one of our GAD grant winners over at the Curious Society. Hi, Scree.
Hi, Ken. Thank you so much for having me here.
It's so great to talk to you. We haven't met before, and so I'm excited to get to know you. I've seen your pictures, I've seen your work, I love your work, but I don't know anything about you. So fill me in.
All right. Um, I am originally from India. I grew up in the Middle East in Abu Dhabi. And my love for photo didn't come until much later in life. When I was doing my first undergraduate in mass communications, and I was exposed to a photo class, and I was like, this is a very interesting kind of thing. I'd only held my father's point and shoot camera before that and taken some pictures, but never really thought about it. And there was something about it that I enjoyed. And I can't really articulate what that was because I've thought about it many times. Like, what was it about photography that really brought me here at this very moment, even talking to you? But I can't articulate something. There was something about photography, about cameras that just felt right. And so around 2012 is when I was exposed to photography and I learned about photojournalism. And I was like, I can write and I can take pictures. Maybe if I combine it together, I can kind of make a career out of it. And that thought led me to my first internship in the UAE at the very first newspaper, the National. I learned a little bit more about photojournalism, or even using a professional grade camera, the difference between a wide angle lens and a 70 to 200 telephoto lens. It took me a long time to kind of understand that, but that was the foundation of kind of getting into photojournalism. And I was like, you know what? I do enjoy this. I feel like I want to learn more about this. And that's when I looked into photojournalism schools here in the United States. And Western Kentucky University caught my attention. And 2014, I landed here, and the rest is history because I just fell in love with storytelling. And the more I learned about it, the more, I was exposed to different communities, different culture here in America, whether it be rural America, whether it be refugees living in America, or just going from newsroom to newsroom. Like, that exposure itself, like, just taught me so much about the culture here and what it really means to be a photographer, a visual storyteller in any community. So it just made me feel really, good to kind of meet people. And yeah, and that's why I'm here having this conversation with you.
So it's funny that when you say you can't quite articulate it, but you just knew this was the right medium for you, photography. And I think we all feel that way. And it takes, I don't know that I can articulate it today. It's just feels right, and it's a common. So that's a good place to be. You were studying mass communication, so like you said, you were kind of a writer. You're already on that path, and then photography or photojournalism kind of just pulled you away to the visual side. And you're at Western Kentucky. You're not at Ohio University, right? Did I get that wrong?
I was at Western Kentucky University from my undergrad.
Okay.
Can you
Okay.
hear me, Ken?
Yes, I got
Okay,
you.
sorry, I had an unstable. I was at Western Kentucky University for my undergraduate degree of photojournalism. And then for my master's, I've come to Ohio University and just finished it.
Well, you got like two great programs. You got the best of both worlds there. What?
Yes, indeed. I can't.
So something else you said, I mean, and we all talk about this as well, this idea that you get to meet people and you get to the camera, being a photojournalist, it gets you, you have this kind of ability to get yourself invited to all these different, meeting different people, getting a peek into their lives. I mean, that to me is on top of the photography part. That's one of the biggest treats as a photojournalist, getting to spy on people in their private moments, to put it in a weird way.
That's true. That's 100% true. Before I comment on that, there was one more thing that I wanted to add to the previous question you asked me about the articulation, that, it's hard to articulate. While it was hard to articulate why photography, I think another motivation that I had was being an Indian. The stereotypical path was there for me. My dad is an engineer, and he and I had this conversation. He's like, why don't you consider engineering? Like, I'm in the field. It's a white collar job, straightforward 9 to 5. And I just told him, I was in a car back home from school, and I just told him, I was like, the world doesn't need more engineers. I need to be creative. And both my parents are creatively talented. My mom is a singer, my dad is a poet, and none of them got to pursue their creative careers, their creative paths, because, the society told them otherwise. Mom got married and dad had to, do something, to make money. So here's their kid, pursuing the path of creative field that they couldn't do it. So it was very important to me to not follow that stereotypical path and really break that cycle of that stereotypical Indian kid, going to the engineering college or being a doctor and, getting out there in the world and being just being stereotypical in every way. So I just wanted to add to that. But kind of going to the question you just asked me about, meeting people and just this privilege, this immense privilege of just being invited into somebody's world is it's the best gift. It's the best gift there is. One little story comes to mind that happened last year, 29th August, my birthday. I have been following this single mother family. Of my master's project was on kinship care in Appalachia through the eyes of one family. And here's a 64-year-old grandmother raising an 8-year-old kid. And I just at that point of time, it was like about 6 months, 7 months into the project, like they had known me. And, I decided to spend my birthday with them because I was like, they are giving me the gift of being, in their life every day. It's just going to be awesome that I'm going to spend my birthday with them. So they found out on Facebook that it was my birthday, and they threw me the nicest little birthday party that I've ever had in my life, with like cake and ice cream and balloons and just confetti. And it just melts my heart. Like, like the relationships we develop, like, become something so meaningful. And these are experiences that like I'm gonna hold close to my heart till my dying moment. Like, these are just small experiences that I love.
No, but they're important, and it goes back to the point that as photographers, as photojournalists, we're on the receiving end of gifts from strangers, from people we kind of know, from people we've just met. We're on the receiving end of gifts all the time with every image that we make. And so I'm not surprised that they'd throw you this birthday party. They're already invited you into their home, into their lives. What?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So tell me, when you think of the future for you, you have a master's degree, and to get back to your parents a little bit, in their defense, it is scary. It is scary for parents to have one of their children in the creative world, because it's not, there's no guarantees in this world, especially in a field like photojournalism. Sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're not. And it is scary for parents, but you just graduated with your master's, and what do you see? What's your ideal plan for, say, the next 6 months?
Oh, Ken, this is a question that no graduating student ever wants to answer unless they have a really cool job. um, but my backtracking a little bit, something that I realized in my master's program is that photography, visual storytelling is a skill in your tool belt. It is not a career. A career is what you can make out of it when you utilize that. So kind of thinking back and forth and really understanding like my limitations as an international student in this country, what I can do, how can I continue using my network. I've come to understand that I have this visual storytelling, this photography on my tool belt. So now I'm only adding to my tool belt of and diversifying my skill set of what I want to do. What I want to do in the future, in the next 6 months, is a little uncertain because I'm still trying to figure that out, baby steps. But I am very interested in the nonprofit world. As much as I love taking pictures and making connections with people, I think the making connection part comes with always wanting to help people, get better, or, kind of help them out with small little, whatever I can to do. And that help really has brought me to the nonprofit world. And while I'm not going to be a social worker, I am trying to figure out how to be in the nonprofit world, use the skills that I have gained in my undergraduate program, in my master's program, as a visual storyteller, who's had several internships in several, esteemed newsrooms around America. How can I take that and help other visual storytellers be better while they're going out there in the community and are telling stories, photo stories, or video stories, whatever they want to tell. So I want to use my skill set to help more people, because right now, with everything that's going on, I need to think about ways where I can still keep my network, continue being in this field, but in a different way that is more viable, where I'm able to get a job, where I'm able to, like, nobody wants to think about visas, but I have to think about my visa. I have to think about my status. What keeps me in this country? So I'm thinking about all those things. And that's why I have chosen the path of nonprofit, because it gives me the most security right now in doing what I want to do, but in a very non-traditional way. If that answers your question.
No, it doesn't, because that was really the responsible answer, and that was really the well thought out answer. And what I'm really interested in is what you hinted at the end there, to pursue your passion. I want to know, besides helping people, what that passion is.
So your question is what my passion is beyond
My
helping people?
my question is, as a purely photojournalist, what is your ideal assignment? What is your ideal long-term project? What is the thing that you would drop everything to do tomorrow if that was an option?
If that was an option, if that was an option, my ideal project, um, I have two in mind.
Okay,
So,
that's good. Let's hear both of them.
so the one that I've always really, like from the deepest part of my heart, have always wanted to do, and the more that I get to, be in this photojournalism um, field or visual storytelling field, is my sister is a special needs child. And I have grown up around that, and just coming from that, family and that dynamic, my sister and my mother have a very special bond that I would like to document, because I think with the little that I've seen, like going back into, like photo archives of our family, not a lot of people have been able to document like things like that. And people don't realize that, photographers really kind of archive like memories and histories and things like that. And that's been something that I've been working on to kind of, gather the courage, because I'm such a huge part of that family. Obviously, it's my mother and my sister and my dad. So like to be there as a photographer almost feels like I'm plucking myself out and seeing it as a different family. So it's always been that question of how do I include myself and, like what I am to this family, and how do I capture that, like the struggles that my parents face, the things that they have given up in life for taking care of my sister, and just what they do. And it's like a constant struggle. Like even COVID situation, like my sister can't get vaccinated because she's a special needs child, she doesn't qualify. So it's like, it's an evolving story, which leads me to the second story, or it's not a story, but like an essay idea that I've always had, is just I'm fascinated with mothers. And that's why a lot of the stories on my portfolio, if you see, are mother-centric, are women-centric. So, because I understand that love at such a different level, seeing my sister, seeing my mother, that I always kind of want to fall back on that. Whether it be kinship care, whether it be a grandmother raising her grandson, whether it be a mother who's lost her daughter because of bullying, or whether it be a mother who's, lost her son because of a freak accident. So that's been a recurring, theme in my work that I've noticed. And that's something that I would like to continue, if I can figure out a bigger essay based on, mothers and what the role that mothers play in our lives. That would be my ideal project.
Well, those are two great projects. The nice thing about the first one is you're the only one that can tell that story. And I know you're hesitant because how do you include yourself? But as the photographer, just because you're behind the camera doesn't mean your presence is not felt in every image that you share. So that's I think something. There's nothing that I know of that is stopping you from pursuing this great project. And the second one, I think you've already done a few essays in that you can build on, that you can continue to pursue, and maybe that becomes a long-term project that you just keep going back to. So those are, I think that's well that's well within your capabilities. You can bring a voice to those two essays that nobody else can.
I hope I can.
Well, it's good to be humble.
Oh,
So, what besides you're very traditional in your I guess I would call this humanitarian photography, where you're very close and it's very intimate type of situations. What is something that you like that is just about the photography? It's not about the essay. It's just about, oh, I love this picture. It's just beautiful light, or it's just beautiful colors. What as a photojournalist working at different newspapers, working in school, what are some of your favorite kind of um, lighter subjects that you like to photograph?
ooh, that's an interesting question. So, I the first, it's not a light topic, but it's an interesting topic because when I was working with the Hartford Current in 2018, I got to cover the gubernatorial campaigns, and political photography can be very interesting because you're stuck in this one little spot that is given to you, and then the world is your oyster. You figure out how you're going to paint that canvas and be as creative as you can. I wish I got to do a lot more political stuff. It can be very challenging and sometimes nasty, but it was one of the most interesting kind of assignments that I've had. I even when I was working at the Naples Daily News, got to do a Trump rally, which was very interesting to me. I was like, there's just so much visual simulation going on in this rally with like colors and people dressing up and people just happy, just and the gorgeous Florida sun. Oh, it just paints a different picture. But political photography, working for newsrooms, has been one of my favorites. Second,
I suspected that was
kind
going to
of
be your answer. I really, because that's my go-to.
really.
Yeah, my go-to is like political photography. It's a circus, and I got a front row seat just to make pictures. And and the fact that there's paid political operatives crafting the type of images they want me to take, the message they want to send, that to me, that just gives me the license to just go crazy. So I that's one of my
Right.
favorites. I'm just so tickled to hear you say that.
And the second kind of photography that I really enjoyed was sports, but not traditional sports. I got to do a PGA campaign in Florida, and that was so interesting because I don't know anything about golf. So I went into the situation completely blind for the first, I don't know, tournament they had. And I botched it up a couple times where I didn't know what the etiquette was. And I'm not like, people might think that I'm just being awful right now. There's just, like I just didn't have the knowledge. I was a bit too green when it came to a golf field. And the photo editor at the time got like called a couple times being like, your photographer has no clue. She's like like on the field, on the green, But the second time around, once I actually wrapped my head and it was, I understood what the etiquette was, like, you need to be quiet, you need to be here. I just had so much fun because, like, golf can be a little mundane when you're out there and kind of seeing it. But again, kind of like political photography, like, you are given only a limited space and you have, a limited photos that you can do. So how can you be creative? How can you make those photos better? And I had so much fun figuring that out. I wish I could do more golf stuff because it just, like, once I got the hang of it, it was like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, I can play with my shutter, I can play with the aperture, I can, like, hide behind the bushes here when I'm not disturbing, or try a really, really big lens and, like, show something different. So that was another very interesting kind of assignment that I had, which
I love it.
was
That's my
not like,
go-to as well. Sports, nobody cares. You can do whatever you want, and you're just there. All that matters is you make a great picture, right?
right,
And the
right.
other, yeah,
Football.
football, perfect. And the other thing is in sports or political photography, as a photographer, people expect you to make pictures, that they realize that's why you're there. So it's just like you have an open canvas. I love that.
That is true. That is true. That is true. Football, like, I've not done very many sports. Like, high school football is something, you know, it's just such an American cultural thing that
Right.
it's, close to my heart. But that is something that I had to learn. Like, I really had to learn the game because in school I got by in my undergraduate, just a little baseball game here, basketball game here, and I got by that sports assignment. But when I went to the Naples Daily News internship, they were like, every Friday you have to do this. This is going to be your assignment every Friday. You have to learn the game. There is no excuse. And I read Football for Dummies. I watched various YouTube videos because I really had to learn the game. I needed to know how to chase the ball with my eyes. So it was an interesting, like, I got to learn about two different sports. Like, I did a little volleyball too, but I don't care so much about volleyball as much as football and golf were so interesting to me, so interesting. And I hold those experiences so close to my heart.
I love it. Well,
And
thank
third, I
you.
think, would be, sorry, I was just going to say, going 1, 2, 3. So political, sports, and the third, light assignment, just going out there and trying to find something cool happening in a limited amount of time for an A3 or a
Right.
B3. And that was just, like, I think I work best under, like, tight deadlines. So I'm just like, like, at my best game when I'm
Right.
looking for those. So that was very interesting to me. Anyways.
No, I feel that's kind of my order as well. The political, sports, and then just the feature hunt. I love it.
Maybe you and I should be friends.
I think we already are. I said it. There you have it. Srijita, thank you so much for taking a little time to chat with me today. I really enjoyed it.
Of course.
And
Thank you. Thank you so much.
we're looking for big things from you. You've got a great eye, and you got a great can-do attitude and work ethic. So I'm excited to see what you produce.
Thank you so much, Ken. That means a lot to me.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
All right, Ken. Thank you,
Okay.
everyone.